This is your tarot reading for Libra season, the 23rd of September until the 22nd of October. As ever, I'll be pulling 5 tarot cards. I'll be using the Ethereal Tarot from Matt Hughes and 1 Oracle card. I'll be using Soul's Lessons and Soul's Purpose from Sonia Choquette. Hopefully this will just bring you some insights, some guidance, some reassurances around Libra season, what to look out for, perhaps what to avoid, where to best place your efforts. And these messages apply both on a personal level, but also on a collective level too. So I'm going to shuffle the cards and we're going to see what comes out for Libra season moving ahead. So the first card that we have jumping out is the 8 of Cups, usually about leaving the emotional baggage behind, moving forward. Bit of a funny card, the 8 of Cups, the Lord of Abandoned Success. So hence why it's often about leaving things in the past in order to move forward in an unfettered way. But let's see how it links in with the other cards. We have the 5 of Pentacles, the Lord of Poverty, the 7 of Cups, the Lord of Illusionary Success. We have the 6 of Pentacles, the Lord of Material Gain, and the Page of Pentacles as well. So a bit of a mixed bag, really. Yeah, it's interesting that we've got 3 Pentacles. Pentacles in the tarot often referring to health and wealth. So there's undoubtedly going to be some financial considerations, but also where we should be perhaps best investing our energies, best investing our resources moving forward. And the Oracle card that we have is Find Your Backbone. So there's a real sense of Libra season not necessarily pulling any punches, but as ever, usually these things are happening in our best interests. I think particularly with the 5 of Pentacles and the 5 and the 7 of Cups in tandem with the 8 of Cups. Yeah, really interesting actually. We've only got Pentacles and Cups, and quite similar. We've got the 5 of Pentacles, 6 of Pentacles, 7 of Cups, 8 of Cups. So it's quite, you know, they're all pretty much the same. It doesn't feel disparate. So yeah, an interesting bunch of cards. But a real feeling of perhaps some of the things that we have held as true and unshakable and permanent. Maybe these things are going to be thrown into question, particularly with the 7 of Cups, the Lord of Illusionary Success. So usually those things that we perhaps place our trust into that aren't necessarily conducive with reality. I've got to say, I mean, kind of that larger thing. So we'll probably be faced with options of what do we leave, what do we let go of, and what do we take forward. And some of those might be slightly challenging questions. I really get the sense that, you know, Libra is all about the scales, finding the balance, and sometimes that is about what are we letting go of rather than what we are bringing in. And I feel that we, as a collective, we're going to be faced with these choices of, are you really going to let that go? Are you really going to jettison that thing, despite the fact that we think it might bring us success, might bring us happiness, might bring us pleasure, but they probably don't in reality. So I really feel that the kind of collective veil will be taken off our eyes of what is of value, what is of worth, and what isn't. And that may lead, particularly with the 5 of Pentacles, you can see it's not necessarily always the happiest of cards, but it's not for naught. But really, it's going to bring into stark contrast those bits of our life that we have been perhaps kidding ourselves, or have perhaps kind of delayed, or perhaps thought, oh, I'm sure that will be fine, what could possibly go wrong? You know, Libra is ruled by the Justice card from the tarot, and that is perhaps the most karmic card throughout the whole entire deck. And karma isn't about what goes around comes around, as it's often misquoted as. Good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people. That's not what it's about, but it's about cause and effect. So the things that we have perhaps, there's just this real feeling of kind of slightly, when you're pretending, oh, I'm sure that'll be fine, I'm sure that'll sort itself out. We procrastinate, or we delay, or we, just on a very low level, on a very subconscious and subtle level, we might be kidding ourselves. And these things feel as though they'll be really brought into our focus. It's not all doom and gloom. I know it sounds a little bit bleak, but we've got the Eight of Cups, which again is reminding us of, well, what do we need to leave behind in order to move forward? And moving forward may be in somewhat into the unknown. The journey isn't necessarily clear, but what we know is that the way that we have been, perhaps just by rote, by habit, by this important word, this habits, that what habits have we got ourselves into that perhaps aren't for our best and that aren't for our highest good, but we've kind of done them anyway because we're turning a bit of a blind spot. What is great is that we reach the Six of Pentacles. Interesting too that we literally have the scales of Libra right there. So all of these things are in order to bring things back into balance. And the more that we resist that, the more difficult that's going to be. But the more that we're able to quickly recognize what we need to, what bad habits we need to break, what negative thought patterns we're catching ourselves in, particularly about what were we doing habitually, and also what are we finding pleasure in that perhaps isn't of a higher ideal. Again, this feels very, very linked with the find your backbone. So some of these choices do require a certain degree of courage. They do require a sense of truth. Again, this feels like a big word for Libra season. Truth will out. And the more that we're able to delay that and delay the inevitable, the kind of, there's a build up of energy, so it becomes even more tangled and even more of a mess that we have to deal with later on. To put it into kind of context, sometimes when somebody might do something that annoys you, they leave the teaspoon in the sink, whatever it might be, and you kind of don't address the issue initially, and then it builds up and we get more and more irritated, and then it's the teaspoon and the cup, and then we start acting out in bizarre ways rather than just kind of nipping it in the bud. This is very much the theme that seems to come through in Libra season. So too, we've got the Page of Pentacles here. So from this kind of clearing the decks and clearing the way, we will find ourselves in this Page of Pentacles energy. It's interesting, obviously we've gone back to school, it's often about education, but more on a larger scale, it's about where are we placing our resources for a later investment. So I really get the sense that from this place of clearing, it's like clearing the table. Okay, what do I want to put in its place that perhaps is more wholesome, that is more that might require a little bit of hard work, but ultimately is better for me. That's very much the theme of this month. And there's a kind of sense here that some people can just choose to ignore all of that and think, oh, it's good, and it's absolutely fine. Why do I need to change anything? Why do I need to change my ways? It's been happening. It's been working fine so far. And then they're likely to have a bit of a dark surprise later. So my advice is don't delay the inevitable, really, for the Libra season. So that is my reading. I know that sounds a bit kind of, but it's good. It's all good. It feels very much like the final sweep before we enter into the last part of the year. And as ever, if you'd like a fuller reading with me, you can find me at the Wellness Foundry, wellnessfoundry.co.uk/bookings, book with me or any of the team for a more in-depth reading. We'll also be releasing 2025 forecast readings from about mid-October. So look out for that. We go through your year ahead, month by month, looking for the themes and lessons and things to look forward to and things to perhaps try and circumnavigate. So again, keep your eyes peeled for that. But until next time, sending you lots and lots of love. Bye for now.